Are y'all ready to discuss Drew and these doggy treats? Is you ready to discuss Drew and the doggy treats? Okay, we're gonna get into everything. Drew and doggy treats for Tomb. Marlo kicking the girls out from the trip. And all kinds of shenanigans going on in this episode. Listen, we did a little poll, you know what I'm saying? On the live chat, and I had asked y'all, was y'all team Marlo or team Kenya? Now, most of you guys, I think last I checked, it was about 68% that said that y'all was team Kenya more, okay, in this whole debacle. I don't really know whose team I'm on in this yet because I ain't really made my decisions. When I watch the episode, I typically watches and I'm just kind of watching and taking my notes and not really. I mean, I'm thinking about how I feel about certain things, but I kind of usually wait to think about it until I'm sitting right here talking with y'all. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all my people. Sky Squad, is you with me? Is you with me? Is you with me? Now, with that being said, shout out to everybody in the room. Thank you guys for tuning in, tapping in, and turning out for another review of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, one of our favorite shows. And we're going to be discussing Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 14, episode 11, Cabin Fever. Okay. Now, when you come on in the room, let us know where you're watching from because we're a little bit nosy. But what we're going to do first things first is we are going to talk about what we would rate this episode. Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10. Now, on the scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give it a 9. 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 And you let me know what you give it. And I'm going to tell you why I'm giving it a 9 as our people come on into the room. You know what I'm saying? All the way from the London, Atlanta. We got Panama City. We got team neither one. Okay, Tallahassee, Florida. We got an 8 right here. Latasha gave it a 3. Not a 3, baby. Not a 3. Hey, Capitol Heights, right down the streets. 797779311. We on the same page, Shamar. We on the same page. Last night was interesting to me. I mean, I loves me a cash trip. But to spend 3 hours of that trip outside in the driveway, making no decisions about moving henceforth or wherever, was unnecessary to me. Okay. And I personally think that this whole trip could have gone a lot better had Marlo simply just said, you know what, I'm not even gonna let this girl ruin my good time. And I'm just gonna enjoy the people that I need to enjoy. Because that's all you can really do. Trying to have any type of one-on-one dialogue with Kenya Moore at this point, when you guys have already had contention, to me, it's enough that the woman just showed up. Okay, so let's let it be that she showed up, she followed the rules, she got there at 8:00. When you walked up to her, she gave you a general hello. It was a very dry hi. I do understand that. It was a very Malaysia hi. It was a general hello, and that could have been that. Do I think that Kenya and Marlo deserve to have a one-on-one Ponderosa? Yes, I do. But I think it's all about timing as well, right? Because I kind of feel like, yes, the fight in the driveway went on way too long. I kind of feel like I understand why that Marlo probably wanted to have a one-on-one sit down, maybe so they could possibly get on the same page. But I think what I would have done if I were Marlo is I would have waited until later after everybody was already having a good time. And sometimes these things are all about timing. But I can also understand because it is supposed to be Marlo's trip and she wants to get the conversation maybe out of the way so that the day can go well. But if I'm Marlo and if I'm there for my own spiritual movement and retreat, I cannot be bothered with the likes of nobody else who is not necessarily liking me at the moment, because ultimately, at the end of the day, the trip is not there. And Sheree said something very poignant. Why are you punishing the rest of us because of the fact that you don't like what one other person is doing? And I have to wonder what it is from that Marlo needs from Kenya Moore, what type of approval she needs from her, because it seems to me that Marlo comes across, and I like Marlo, but it feels to me as though Marlo is a little desperate for Kenya Moore's approval, attention, or some type of affection in general, and I don't know what it is. Simply Shamar says, I know when I'm on vacation, I don't let one clown take down the circus. I'm really surprised Marlo defeated herself when Kenya really did nothing to impact the trip. Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree 100% with you on that one. I see a lot of you guys are saying Marlo ruined the trip for herself, and I kind of would have to agree with that, to be quite honest with you. Even Andy Cohen said on Watch What Happens Live, he was upset, he was annoyed that the trip ended early. So let's get into it. All right, so it's 9:30 p.m. The ladies leave the restaurant, head back to the cabin in the woods, and Kenya Moore heads to her house by herself. Marlo tells the girls that if Kenya doesn't come to the house by breakfast, then she don't want her to come and hang at all. Now, what I know, I'm not going to really get into the after show or Candy speak on it today, because we like to save that for Tuesday here on this channel for those of you guys who are in the know. And for those of you guys who are not, that's what we does, okay? So I'm not paying attention to that right now, but what I did hear from a clip that I just happened to catch on the Instagram was that somebody had alerted Kenya to the fact that she needed to be there by 9 a.m. for the breakfast with her bags in tow, or Marlo was going to have a conniption. So at 9 a.m., Kenya Moore turns into Sonia Richards Ross, the track star, and she is running down the driveway. She is running down the driveway so she can make it in time for that 9 a.m. breakfast cast call, and she is not going to be late today. So she turns into the only track star, and she gets to boogieing down that runway. Yes, she does. Thank you, S. Park, for the super chat. I don't blame you. When there's some bacon involved, I'm running too. So anyway, I feel like in my mind, production also, I know it was Sheree that called her, but also I feel like somebody told her, girl, if you don't, you better show up here on time at 9 a.m. in the morning right quick, because this trip is about to go left, and we did not pay for this money for this cabin in the woods for you to not show up and do what you need to do. Because, you know, Carlos King has said back in the day when Kenya Moore didn't want to give Marlo no attention, he cut right into the scene and he said, you're going to give her anything she wants, because this is a show and you guys are being paid to interact with each other. So on that part, I do agree, and I'm glad that Kenya Moore became the team player and showed right on up, right on time, right in time for bacon and eggs. She ends up dropping by Drew's room. Ooh, she dropped it with Drew. She dropped by Drew's room first, okay? And she's like, ooh, girl, your room is messy, okay? But it's all good vibes as Drew, Sonya, and Kenya pop, lock, and drop it down to the hallway. They just happy that Kenya made it. So Marlo comes out to greet her. She reaches out for a hug, and Kenya Moore gives her the Nini and it's like, hi, hello. And it's, again, like I said, it's the general hi, hello, the dry hi, as the British Williams would say, okay, the dry hi. But at least you got a hi. In my mind, it's like, to me, that was enough, okay? I don't need no more than that. I don't like you. You don't like me, but you showed up and you followed my rules as I asked for, okay? So at that point in time, it won't really even nothing left to be said. But Marlo, for some reason to me, is deciding to drive a stake into this, okay? She is going to beat the horse until the horse is no longer with us, okay? The horse is gone, is more gone than a horse riding around in the California desert in the movie Nope, okay? If you know, you know. But to me, I feel like let it go. Just let it go, okay? Let it go, Elsa. Let it go. She does want to talk to Kenya Moore privately. So she requests that Kenya Moore go to her room. Now, Sonya makes it seem later like Marlo had a gift for her or whatever. But to be honest with you, I feel like, you know, Marlo probably should have just left that gift out on the counter. Okay. So anyway, Sonya tries to go talk to Kenya and tell her to go talk to Marlo. And she wants to know if Kenya is staying. And Kenya's like, well, I'm only staying if the car and the charger don't work. Okay. And Sonya tells her, listen, girl, go and get your gift from Marlo. And Kenya's like, I ain't going. Okay. Period. Period. Sonya in her confessional feels like if Kenya Moore did not want to talk to Marlo, then she should not have come. But I'm thinking to myself, Sanya, you should have told her that in the moment, okay? In the moment. So that's typically where the term ITM comes from. For those of you guys who are unfamiliar with the television world, it's an in the moment confessional. They used to do a lot of those on Housewives of Atlanta. Well, Housewives in general back in the early days. You know, it would be the confessional where the person was standing out into the streets or you know, standing at the event talking about something that just happened versus waiting for the girls to go sit down in a room with a green screen and get glam. So that's why they used to call them ITMs, because they would be in the moment sort of confessionals. So in my mind, I was wishing that in this instant it wasn't an ITM, i.e. confessional. I wish it was an in the moment, girl, I'm talking to you right now. Then why did you come? But Sonya does not say that to her face. Okay. Kenya's rationale is, I can't respect Marlo because listen, she kicked her own nephews out. Why should I think that she cares anything about me? So Kenya reveals that she ran away when she was younger. She stayed at an ex-boyfriend's house for weeks because she felt like, you know, she too had gone through a similar situation to what Marlo's nephews have gone through. And, you know, so if she doesn't care about them boys, she obviously can't have heart enough to care about Kenya more. So anyway, Sonya escorts Kenya to go get some glam. Meanwhile, Run Rudolph, who is now nicknamed, that is Sonya's new nickname, Run Rudolph, because Sonya could not wait to do the track star sprint down to Sheree's room to let Sheree know that Kenya has some stuff to say about Marlo kicking them boys out. So Run Rudolph and Sheree does the track run over some hurdles and down to the river and through the woods to Marlo's room to let her know that, girl, we need to talk. And in typical Sonya fashion, she stutters her way through because, you know, I'm sure production said, you better get down there and tell her either that or she had learned the ropes by this point and said, oh, I got a job to do. So let me skedaddle on down. So Run Rudolph gets to Marlo's room and they say, girl, we got to talk. Okay. And so the producer then asks her, hey, do you know the difference between a bone collector and a concerned friend and peacemaking? And Sonya's like, well, I thought I was peacemaking or whatever. But even Sheree realizes, girl, you are collecting bones, Run Rudolph. So anyway, Sonya reveals that Kenya felt a way about Marlo kicking the boys to the curb. And, you know, she basically says, you just can't stop parenting because you're tired. And then Marlo's, and that Marlo has some demons. Okay. So Sheree lets it be known also that she too feels like Kenya should have, she lets Marlo know that she told Kenya about Marlo kicking the boys to the curb. So Marlo is heated and she does not want Kenya Moore to go with them to go mine for some gems in the Confederate store. Okay. So anyway, Marlo does a prayer with Sonya that Kenya leaves the nephew's names out of her mouth and that she acts like the 60-year-old woman that she is. Okay. Meanwhile, we get a flashback of Kenya helping Sheree get her brand built, but in the real time, we get Kenya with Sheree in the kitchen telling her that she has set up a call for her with somebody in the fashion industry, and she wants Sheree to stop talking about, you know, she by Sheree and start being about it. Candy also advises the woman to build a team. So Drew comes in asking if Candy is doing a masterclass, and as quiet as it's kept, Candy probably should have been doing a masterclass. It would have been better use of her time than what's about to happen next. So anyway, they are all off about to head to the Confederate store for the gem mining, but suddenly there's a knock at the door, and Fatum is there. And Drew is like, oh, Lord. But I'm thinking to myself, Drew, based on what we see that happens later on, you had to have known that Fatum was coming along on this trip, okay? Otherwise, well, we'll get to that in a second. Meanwhile, before the sprinter can depart, Marlo wants to speak to Kenya before they leave, and it's already starting off on the wrong foot, okay? So my thing is, for some reason, Kenya gets to running from room to room, okay? She get to running from room to room like this is a game of hide and go get it, okay? And Marlo is running right after her. Like it's, again, it's the game of hide and go get it. So she running, Marlo is running behind her, track star turning into Sonya, run, Rudolph. And then, next thing you know, Marlo transforms into Gollum chasing after the ring. Okay, she is chasing after the ring. The precious. She's got to get it, baby. She has got to get it. So much so that the cameraman gets all up into the way, into the shot, almost get knocked down or whatever. So after they start playing hide and go get it, Kenya is yelling for Marlo, get off of me, get off of me. But later on, we find out on Watch What Happens Live that Marlo never touched Kenya. So Candy at this point is over Kenya. Marlo just wants to speak privately, but Kenya wants to talk in front of the group. Candy says, Candy calls out Kenya at this point and says, listen, Kenya, you don't like it when people poke at you, so you need to stop poking at the Marlo. But Kenya is like, listen, I don't want to talk to her in privacy. We can talk right here with everybody else in public and whatnot, because I don't want to be alone with her because I don't know what she's going to do. Okay. So anyway, the argument continues outside because Marlo get to chasing after Kenya more about talking about her nephews. And Marlo is like, can't nobody say nothing to me about my nephews to take me away from them and whatnot. And so Kenya is like, yeah, because you gave them up. It don't matter. So anyway, Kenya's on the phone with somebody. I don't know who she's talking to. I thought she might have been making other arrangements. Marlo is determined to not let Kenya go in the van anywhere. So we get them taking it to the driveway, and that's when we get Kenya's iconic line, I'm an icon, and you are an ex-con. So an hour later, they are still in the driveway. Kenya is annoyed with Sonya because Sonya is trying to talk some sense into Kenya. Kenya, like, Sonya's like, girl, just talk to the woman. And Kenya's like, now I know, Sonya, you are not coming at me because you had an issue with Drew putting her hands in Sheree's face, and it didn't have nothing to do with you. So why don't you leave me alone? Go run off somewhere else, Rudolph. Anyway, Sonya feels dismissed by Kenya, and she is annoyed too. Candy and Monyetta are off to the side, sitting on the stoop, like, what WTF? Can we just call ourselves an Uber so we can get to this Confederacy store? Meanwhile, we had a super chat. Hold on. Yes, I mean, Rudolph, run Rudolph. Okay. That's what I got to call her for today. You know what I'm saying? For today. And I don't dislike Sanya. I know y'all, what you gonna say? You don't like Sanya. But she was run Rudolph today. She ran with the news. So anyway, an hour and 30 minutes later, Marlo wants anyone who wants to go gem mining to come with her. And she's like, get on in the van if you're coming with me. But Fatum is trying to get into the van. And Drew is like, I want to go gem mining. I want to go with you to the Confederacy store. But I don't want to ride in the car with this bee. Okay. Now, to me, Drew had me cackling in this moment because it was so unexpected to me. Okay. It was unexpected. She called a woman a bee to her face. And I was like, what? Now, say what? Now Drew is stepping it on up in the moment shade. Okay. I don't like Drew's pre-planned shade, which we're gonna talk about in just 1 second. Okay. Simply Shamar says, like, Bone Carrier Express. That would be Sanya's new Bone Carrier Express, baby, faster than FedEx. Anyway, the Hicks World says, I am thoroughly enjoying this new Kenya. Marlo has been trying to dim Kenya's light for a decade at this point. Production paid for the trip. So that's what I'm saying. Y'all know production paid for that trip. Y'all know it. Y'all know who paid for that trip because at the end of the day, Marlo might have paid for the cars or made some type of arrangement for the cars, but production had a hand in that trip. Okay. Meanwhile, somehow Fatum and Drew gets to arguing, And then you see security come up and they are escorting Drew away. She called Fatum, Sheree's lapdog, and starts barking at her, arf, 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 and tells her to go pee in the bushes. Okay. Candy is like, what in the hot dog is going on here? What in the Dennis McKinley hot dogs is going on here? 2 hours later, Candy, Munyetta, Fatum, and Kenya decide to go take pictures by the lake and jump on the trampoline. Now, inside, Marlo is on the bed crying her eyes out about having to beg Kenya to go to the Confederacy store. Why do you care? Why, like in my mind, Marlo, this is your trip. Why are you begging anybody to do anything? First, you ordering her around. What approval do you need from Kenya Moore in order to operate on this show now that you have a peach? You need to let that, and I hate to say it, but it feels like an inferiority complex for whatever reason. And probably because the girls kept calling a peach list for so many years and she got the pressure on her to bring it as a peach holder. But at the end of the day, girl, like, who cares? When Candy called you and told you that Kenya wasn't coming and you said, well, we'll survive, you can survive with her there and doing her own thing in a separate car. So you ain't even really got to come into contact with her. But you crying your eyes out in your room because Kenya Moore don't love you no more is very strange to me, and I don't get it. Meanwhile, Kenya got her own issues. For her, Marlo's behavior towards her reminds her of her marriage. She cannot stand someone who says they loves them but treats them a certain type of way. Now, they both got residual issues that they need to deal with, but at the end of the day, I mean, it sounds like it's a thin line between love and hate. And somewhere in the middle of all this is some type of love, and I don't know what it is, but it sounds dangerous to me, okay? Ultimately, after jumping on the trampoline, Marlo decides that Kenya can go, but she cannot ride with her. So, because God told Marlo to be the bigger person, and so she listened to God, and off she goes in the way of the Lord. And so then they get to the Confederacy store, okay, and Marlo thanks, Sanya for having her back. But inside, there's a Trumper 2024 sign. And I know at this point in time, it was time for me to go, okay? Because if I'm walking into the store and I see the Trump 2024 sign, I already know they slogan is "Take America Back," okay? Clearly by any means necessary, as we saw on January the 6th. But we won't go down that road, okay? And let me tell you something. This is not a political conversation, but you can take it that way if you want to. Because I don't have a problem with people who consider themselves Republicans, circa 1990, okay? Because those were some different Republicans. These Republicans today, the Trump Republicans, I just can't take it. And if you don't like it, so what? I don't care today, okay? What I do know is that Kenya Moore needed to clean up the store a little bit. So she took that Trump sign down, handed it to the owner. The sign fell. Okay, so you're gonna need to do something with it. Meanwhile, this man is mean mugging these ladies like they are his worst enemy. Okay. I was so glad in that moment. I laughed so hard when Kenya Moore took down that sign. I was so excited because I don't even understand why they even became a patron of that man. But honestly, it was worth it for them to be up in that Confederacy store. All these beautiful black women up in that man's face. He was angry about that. Production probably didn't say who was coming to dinner today, but he sure did find out, didn't he? Okay, he sure did find out. Take that sign down, throw it in the trash. Kenya should have threw it in the trash. Actually, slung it like a boomerang, if you ask me. That's all for all I care. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, once I saw that sign, I would have been like, I don't want no gems from there. Take me out of this Confederacy store and take me back to the house. I would rather argue with Kenya Moore for the next 24 hours and grind my teeth, okay, like I do at nighttime anyway, than stand in this man's store with this Trump sign looking at me like I'm crazy, okay? Meanwhile, Marlo is going on about how fabulous this feels. And at a certain point in time, they goes and sit outside or something like that as they working through the gyms. And Fatum goes to sit across from Drew. Now, Drew gets right up and Fatum is like, sit down, girl, sit down. But Drew has to go run away to the inside. Okay, she got to go run away to the inside. Hold on for a second. Thank you, Boo Rosalind, for becoming a member. We appreciate you. We welcome you to the Sky Squad family. We send you love and greetings from above. Okay. We got a super chat here from Anthony Green that says, I wouldn't have spent a dime in that man's store. When Kenya took that sign down, he was upset, and you know he was. Okay, you know he was. Meanwhile, Marlo feels at this point like the trip is ruined and she is drained from her own negativity. Anyway, her nephew's birthday is tomorrow, so I think she's probably feeling a little bit extra emotional. So anyway, to get back to the house, and Marlo is ready to pack up her bags, okay? But I think she thinks better of it, and she's like, I'm gonna stay here because production already got the house. Y'all got to go. So Sheree tells her not to penalize everybody else because Kenya is not supportive of her. And Marlo regrets inviting Kenya because the energy was great before she got there. Sheree agrees that Kenya should not have come. Let me ask you guys a question. Do you think that Marlo is responsible for her trip being ruined, or do you think Kenya is responsible for the trip being ruined? Chime down in the chatterization, okay? Miss D Green says, yes, Marlo did not do any homework on that establishment. As a new Georgia resident, even I know to question the rural areas and their beliefs. Listen, okay? Because let me tell you something. I was on my way home. I had went home to visit my parents. My parents live in the country. So as you know, between city and country living, there are very rural places in betwixt, right? So when I stop to get gas, I always have to scan my surroundings when I'm in areas that are unfamiliar to me, where I see, either the Trump signs or any type of, odd type of flagging. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know what I'm talking about. So I got to be extra vigilant in those situations, because those situations for some people, black and brown people, that can be very, very dangerous. So you got to know where you're going. Okay. Meanwhile, as you guys say, some of you guys are saying Marlo is the reason. Marlo, both of them. Okay, they both ruined the trip. I see what you're saying. Meanwhile, Marlo asked Sheree to go gather the girls to go meet in 5 minutes. So everybody gathers around. Marlo arrives sad and somber in her Fendi cape, and she feels worse than before she got there. She wanted everybody to respect each other and have a good time. Now, Fatum ends up apologizing to Marlo, but of course she takes things and goes in the opposite direction. Okay. Fatum then says, but I was attacked. Okay. And I know that I should have ignored this woman. So then Drew and Fatum get into it. Now, at this point in time, Drew has, as she was packing her bags, okay, Drew was packing her bags. She said, let me, you know what? I knew I was gonna need something because Fatum is coming. And the actress in me, I need to put on a scene. What can I do to put on a scene? I know. I feel like she's Sheree's lapdog. What do you give a dog? Oh, I know. I got just the thing in my luggage bag. Dog treats. Okay. So I'm gonna bring these because I ain't had to use them yet because I had to get my suitcase because I couldn't do it earlier when I was outside, and I called her a B to her face because security was pulling me back, and I only had my pocketbook outside. I didn't have my luggage bag with me. So now I got my dog treats. I'm gonna bring them to the meeting, to the Ponderosa, because this is gonna be the best time to do it, in front of everybody. Okay. And so at this point in time, she takes out the doggy bone, okay, and she tosses it at Fatum, okay, and everybody is looking like, now what in the dog Snoopy is going on here? Okay, so producers then ask Drew in her confessional, girl, do you even have a dog? Drew says, I used to. So that tells me that you done went out to the grocery store, to the food line, to the Winn-Dixie, okay? You done went to the Winn-Dixie down the street, picked up some dog treats, because you said, I got to make myself a moment. Okay, that's what I got to do here. So you went down to the Winn-Dixie. You went all the way down to the Winn-Dixie before you got on the road for this trip, and you bought yourself some doggy treats. only to throw and toss one doggy treat onto the floor at this woman. Okay. So Sheree said, "Oh, that's Ralph's dildo." Okay. I was like, Sheree. Every time they talk about a dildo on this show, I think about Nene talking about she don't want a dildo. I don't want to hang. I don't want to talk about a dildo. I don't want a dildo. I don't want the dildo. No dildo for me. Okay. So anyway, Marlo is still unhappy. She didn't call for everybody's cars and she wants everybody to leave. It is like, thanks, but no thanks for making me feel better. So everybody is shocked because they are kicked off the trip. Kenya didn't even wait for her to get the words out of her mouth that y'all got to go before she was already starting to pack her bags. I don't even think Kenya's bag was unpacked at this point because she was just like, I was leaving anyway. Monyetta wants to speak up, but she don't really know what to do because she's too new. Marlo gives her speech and she is out. She is over Fatum as well, causing all the drama. And she's just going to do a photo shoot with her glam squad while everybody else get to going home. Now, let's talk about Drew exposing production. Okay. So Drew took to her Instagram, okay, and she pointed out that no, it wasn't just I didn't just throw the one bone, okay, at the woman, okay. I had a whole bag of doggy treats that I threw at the woman, okay. She had a whole bag because as you guys can see here, okay, when we head on over to the ground, when we saw the trailer, okay, she had thrown a whole bunch of kibbles and bits at the woman, okay? A whole bunch of kibbles and bits. So for whatever reason, production had then took out Drew throwing all the the kibbles and bits at the lady for some reason. I guess they thought to themselves, well, listen, girl, I mean, it was only so much of this acting scene that we was gonna let you do, okay? Because it was already pre-planned, it was already a bit too much, and it already didn't have the impact that you thought it was gonna have. So you throwing the whole bag of kibbles and bits at this woman, it really didn't. I mean, I don't think anybody thought to themselves, "Oh, that was she read her down." This to me was the equivalent of Drew bringing the boom box last season to play some type of audio recording from a prophet about something. You know what I'm saying? Because you know she loved herself a prophet. You know what I'm saying? She loved it. She loved when she could bring herself a prophet that can talk about something. And you know, it was just very strange to me. And so while I was growing to enjoy Drew a bit more, I just think she needs to stick to leaving the shenanigans like that in her pocketbook, leave the script alone, and show up as her natural self and just do what she would naturally be doing in the first place. Okay. And that's just me. It just didn't hit the way that I think that she wanted it to hit. Maybe the kibbles would have hit more if they showed it and not the one bone that was laying on the floor. But to me, it just didn't, I don't know. It didn't land, no pun intended, the way that I think she thought it was going to land. But that's just me. And so that's the review of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 14. Episode 11, Cabin Fever. This didn't end very well at all. Okay. That's what I'm saying. Oh, the Hicks World says she threw more than dog. Candy said on Watch What Happens Live that she threw more than dog treats. Yeah, I think she was talking about the kibbles and bits. Okay. Shamar gave her an E for effort. I can't even give her the grace of that. Okay. I can't. Because to me, I felt like you don't need, that's not a situation where you need a prop. Her reaction to Fatum initially was funny enough. You didn't need all that extra dog treats and stuff like that when you ain't even got a dog. Okay. Oh. Just so frustrating. Maybe she'll get it next year. I don't know. Meanwhile, I did not buy these doggy treats for this video. I had these doggy treats downstairs because I do, in fact, have a dog. Okay. So with that in mind, listen, thank you guys for tapping in, tuning in, and being so participatory in this review of Real Housewives of Atlanta. We have don't never fear though, because we have the Married to Medicine girls coming up in just a little bit. So be on the lookout for that video as well, because you in for a treat with that one too. Okay, not a doggy treat, but some type of treat. I don't know what kind, but we'll just have to wait and see. With that being said, y'all know I love y'all, and I'm gonna catch y'all in the next video.